Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to jump into another deep dive. Today, we're tackling this whole learn to code thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's been blowing up, right? Is it the golden ticket everyone says it is? We're going to find out.
Yeah, everyone's talking about like high salaries and working from anywhere, but
Right.
this article we're looking at today, it digs deeper.
It does. It does. Goes
Yeah.
way beyond the hype.
It really does.
So,
Like, did you see the bit about Algo Academy, how they designed their whole curriculum around passing those coding interviews?
yeah, that's intense. Makes you think, right?
Totally. It's like, whoa, it's competitive from the get-go.
Before you even get the job.
Yeah.
So on one hand, you've got this dream job image, big bucks, freedom, cool offices, all that.
Yeah.
What's the reality?
Well, the article, it doesn't sugarcoat it. It says, point blank, becoming really good, it takes serious time.
Like no shortcuts.
Nope. Forget those boot camp ads promising 6 figures after a few weeks. That's
Oh, yeah, those.
It's a myth. They even have stats.
Oh, really?
Only like 60% of boot camp grads land a developer job within 6 months. And even then,
Oh, wow.
the average starting salary, more like 70,000.
That's a big difference.
Huge. Not the 100,000 plus they hype up.
Right. So that's eye-opening. So there's more to it than just like knowing the code.
Right. Way more.
Yeah.
It's like, imagine this. Technology, it's always changing.
Oh, for sure.
What's hot now could be gone tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not just learning to code. You're signing up for, like, lifelong learning.
That's a good point.
Always got to be adapting.
Yeah. So does this mean coding is only for certain people then? Do you have to have like a special brain for it?
That's interesting. The article actually talks about this coding aptitude thing.
Okay.
It says not everyone's brains are just wired for that logic and problem solving you need.
Right.
But that's totally fine.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. It's about finding what you're good at, what you're passionate about.
Right. Finding your thing.
It's-
So let's say you're interested and you're like, all right, I'm going to try those platforms everyone talks about, like Algo Academy.
Mm-hmm.
Are they worth it? Or is it all just marketing?
It's tricky. Honestly, they can be great,
Yeah.
especially for the basics.
Right.
Super structured learning, interactive exercises, quizzes,
Yeah.
even those mock interviews
Yeah. Yeah.
to get you prepped.
But got to be a catch, right? The article talked about this tutorial trap.
Oh, yeah.
What's that all about?
Easy to get stuck there in tutorial land, doing practice problems forever.
Right.
But that doesn't always mean you can code in the real world.
Ah, I see.
Article gave this example. Someone aced all these courses, knew the language inside and out, but then tried to build an actual app and blank.
Ooh, that's got to be rough.
Yeah, so it's like platforms are great for the foundation, but
It's not enough.
you got to go further.
Right, right. So what else do you need to actually break into tech, land the job?
Soft skills.
Soft skills.
Yeah. You can be a coding whiz, but if you can't explain your ideas, work with a team.
Oh, okay.
Solve problems creatively, you'll hit a wall.
So it's not just about being the tech genius. You got to be like a people person too.
Pretty much.
Huh, interesting.
And remember, tech's not just about the code itself.
Right.
It's about the whole business side, understanding the user, the trends that are shaping everything.
The big picture.
Exactly.
Okay, and I'm guessing having real experience, like projects you've actually done.
Oh, absolutely.
That's got to be key, right?
Employers want to see that, not just what courses you took.
That makes sense.
So doing open source projects, building your own apps, even volunteer work, it all shows what you can do.
Right, proving yourself.
Exactly.
And networking, I bet that's big too.
Oh, essential connections, open doors.
For sure.
So go to those meetups, conferences, get involved in online communities. You never know.
Who you'll meet.
Exactly.
And there was something in the article, I found it fascinating, about specializing. It said, like, if you're really good at one specific thing, like cybersecurity or machine learning, you stand out more.
Makes sense, right? Think of it from a company's point of view. They need someone for a very specific role.
Yeah.
Do they want the jack of all trades or the expert in exactly what they need?
Right, the specialist.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about the appeal of coding, how much work it actually is, the learning platforms, the soft skills, experience, all that.
Yeah.
But what about those who try it and it doesn't work out? What happens to them?
That's where things get, well, less glamorous.
Yeah.
The article talks about the danger of unrealistic expectations.
Oh, right.
People see the success stories, the big salaries, and think it's easy.
Easy money.
But they don't see the grind, the setbacks, the rejections.
It's like anything, right? Looks easy from the outside.
Exactly.
So it's kind of both, exciting potential, but
Out.
also potential for like disappointment, even financial trouble if you're not careful.
Absolutely. And it's not just about individuals either. The article brings up these bigger questions, like what happens to the whole tech industry with this learn to code push?
Interesting.
What if we get tons of new coders, all competing for the same jobs?
Oh, yeah, could get crowded.
Exactly. And what about the quality of the software? If everyone's new, will things get, I don't know,
Less reliable.
buggy?
Yeah, something to think about.
Big questions. To see how this plays out in real life, the article has these 2 case studies.
Oh, yeah, those are interesting.
We'll dive into those next time, but for now,
Sounds good.
I'm curious, what stood out to you most so far?
Hmm. I think it's how this whole learn to code thing, it's like a mirror of the gig economy.
Oh, interesting.
That promise of freedom, but the reality is way more complex.
Right, it's not as simple as it sounds.
Exactly.
Okay, we'll pick up on that next time. See you then.
See the Yeah, it's like that whole be your own boss thing, right? Sounds amazing.
Totally. But then you're like, wait, no steady paycheck, no benefit?
And you're always hustling for the next gig. Exactly. The article, it even mentioned how this is happening in coding too.
Oh, yeah, with those freelance platforms.
We might have the skills, but
You're competing with everyone globally.
and probably for not great pay.
Often, yeah. It's tough. All right, let's get into those case studies. The article had Sarah, who landed a developer job,
Mm-hmm.
and Mike, who's still struggling, even after that coding boot camp.
Right, right.
What did their stories tell us?
Sarah, she's like the poster child for doing it right. Not just the coding skills,
Oh, so there was more.
way more. She built real projects like a portfolio, networked constantly,
Sorry.
even did some coding for a nonprofit, all volunteer.
Wow, she went all out.
Yeah, she was proactive. And the thing is, she was realistic too,
That's about.
the job market. She didn't think she'd be like senior developer right away.
Had the right mindset.
Totally. Started at the bottom, ready to work her way up.
Okay, and Mike, what happened there?
Seems like he fell into those classic traps, thought the salary would be huge instantly.
Oh, and that he'd find a job, like, that week.
Those unrealistic expectations.
Exactly. He was also chasing the trendy coding languages, figure that guarantee him the big bucks,
Instead of like building a solid base.
and showing he could actually solve problems, yeah. Plus, he didn't network much.
Oh, he thought the skills were enough.
Seems like it, but we've seen that's not how it works.
These stories are really helpful. Shows it's not just about like abstract ideas, it's real people.
It is, yeah. Individual journeys.
Motivations, even luck sometimes, probably.
Right. Finding your own way in all this chaos.
And realizing learn to code, it's a start, but it's not the whole picture.
Not at all. More like a foundation you build on.
Okay, so someone's listening thinking, coding's not for me, BUT, tech is cool.
Mm-hmm.
What else can they do?
So many options. Think beyond the coding itself. What's valuable across tech?
Like what?
Communication, being able to solve problems, thinking analytically, even having a good eye for design.
Right, those apply to tons of roles.
Exactly. The article had some great examples. Product management, for one.
Product management? What's that?
You're kind of the link between the tech team and the business folks.
Oh, okay.
Make sure everyone's on the same page, the product does what it's supposed to.
Sounds like you got to know a bit of everything for that.
You do. Tech, business, people skills, the whole package.
Interesting. What else did they mention?
Technical writing, if you're good at explaining things clearly, that's a good one.
So like writing manuals and stuff.
Yeah. Documentation for software, tutorials, even marketing for tech companies.
Still in the tech world, but
From a different angle, right?
yeah. What about UX design? That's a big one these days.
Huge. It's all about making websites and apps easy and fun to use,
So like the look and feel of it.
and how people actually interact with it. Got to be intuitive, enjoyable.
There's so many apps out there. That's got to be important.
Super important. Then there's the whole behind-the-scenes stuff, keeping the tech running,
Oh, right. Like what?
IT, system administration, always in demand.
So managing servers, networks, all that.
Exactly. Making sure everything works smoothly. You might not need to be a coding pro, but
Some knowledge helps.
definitely. Knowing some scripting can come in handy.
Makes sense. Data analysis, that's another hot one, right?
It is. And coding skills, they're gold there.
Oh, how so?
You're using languages like Python or SQL, digging into huge amounts of data,
To find what?
insights, patterns, helping businesses understand their customers, see trends, make decisions.
So like detective work almost.
Kinda. And then you got to explain what you found clearly.
Right, so everyone understands.
Exactly. Visualizing the data, making charts and stuff, that's becoming big too.
Makes it easier to grasp, yeah. Any other paths we should mention?
Oh, quality assurance, QA.
Yeah.
If you're detail-oriented, love finding those tiny errors.
Oh, the bug hunters?
Yeah. You're ensuring the software actually works before it goes out.
Super important with how complex things are.
Totally. And it can lead you to other areas in tech too. You're right in the middle of the development process, seeing how it all comes together.
Learning on the job, basically.
Exactly. And then there's the more business-focused roles.
Oh, yeah.
Tech sales, customer support, always need people who get the tech. A&D can talk to clients.
So being the friendly face of the company.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Building those relationships, understanding what customers need.
And making sure those needs are met.
Exactly.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground here. So many ways to be in tech, even without being the hardcore coder.
There are, yeah. Finding where your interests and skills fit in.
And the needs of the industry, right.
Right. And don't forget, tech never sits still. New stuff's popping up all the time.
Gotta stay flexible.
Absolutely. Be curious, keep learning, adapt.
Good advice. Okay, let's say someone's pumped, wants to try this tech career thing, maybe even the coding. What should they actually do? To make a good decision, I mean.
First, look inward. Self-assessment time. What are you good at? What do you enjoy? Where do you want to be long term?
Get to know yourself.
Exactly. Then, research time. Don't just buy the bootcamp hype.
Right, look beyond the ads.
Talk to people actually doing the jobs. Read industry blogs. Get the real picture.
What's it actually like day to day?
The good, the bad, the culture, everything.
Okay, that makes sense. Anything else?
Start small. Tons of free coding resources out there. Try a tutorial. Play with different languages.
See what clicks?
Exactly. No need to invest tons of money right away.
Right, test the waters first.
And this is huge EE. Talk to people already in the roles you're interested in.
Oh, like informational interviews.
Exactly. Pick their brains, get their advice, hear their stories.
So networking's important even when you're just starting out.
Oh, yeah. And remember, it's okay to change your mind.
You don't have to be locked in.
Tech's so diverse, so many paths.
It's about finding the right one for you.
Exactly. Might take some trying things out, seeing what fits.
But the key is be open, don't give up, and don't be afraid to try something new.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
We've covered a ton today, the good, the bad, the different options in tech, even if coding's not your thing.
It's a big world out there.
Before we wrap this whole deep dive up, I want to hear from you what stuck with you most. You know, it's kind of wild how much tech changes all the time.
Yeah, it's like a moving target.
Right. You learn to code, but then...
Then there's like 10 new things to figure out.
Exactly. And that makes me think, how do we make sure everyone can keep up with all these changes? I mean...
That's where things get tricky, right? Not everyone has the same opportunities.
Right. Like, some people can't just quit their job to learn to code.
Exactly. And then there are all those, like, systemic barriers that make it even harder for some.
Yeah, it's not a level playing field.
Definitely not.
So we have to remember talent's everywhere, but...
But the chances to develop it, they aren't equal.
Right. So how do we change that?
Well, for one, making sure everyone can access tech education.
Not just those who can afford those expensive boot camps.
Exactly. And it's not just about money, it's about time, too.
Having the time to learn.
Yeah. Right. And there's some really cool programs out there trying to bridge that gap.
Like what?
Coding programs specifically for underrepresented groups, scholarships, mentorships, stuff like that.
Oh, that's great. It's like leveling the playing field a bit.
It is, yeah. And ultimately, that's good for everyone.
Right. A more diverse tech world benefits everyone.
Absolutely. More perspectives, more ideas, more talent in the mix.
Makes for a more interesting and innovative industry, too.
Totally. It's not just about doing the right thing.
It's about making tech better for everyone, period.
Exactly.
Okay, so big picture, we've gone way beyond just learn to code, right?
Right.
Looked at the whole picture.
The good, the bad, the possibilities.
And we've seen it's about realistic expectations, being adaptable, always learning.
Finding your own path.
And remembering that tech, it's ultimately about people.
Solving problems, connecting with each other, making things better.
Exactly. So as we wrap up, here's what I hope you take away. Learn to code can be amazing, but...
But it's a journey, not a quick fix.
Right. It takes work, dedication, and a willingness to keep growing.
And there are so many ways to be part of this world, even if coding isn't your main thing.
Find what lights you up, what plays to your strengths.
And don't be afraid to try new things. Step outside your comfort zone.
Because tech It's always changing, and who knows, maybe you'll be the one changing it next.
That's the exciting part.
It is. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for listening.